honest.
Okay, well anyway, as it's Friday here in the Asia Pacific region of Grandmasters, we are doing 6.
We're eating curly fries. Oh, sorry.
I wish there was just a big bowl of curly fries.
What
you don't see when we're off camera. We're just.
Sorry.
I'll get to my point eventually. We do have 6 matches today. It's not going to be every Sunday like it was in last season. We are going to spread them out across the regions. So today we have 6, and we finish with a bit of a belter as well. It's tom60229, a previous world champion, going up against DawN. And I say it's a bit of a cool one because we have a new class already put in today. Tom is bringing Warlock. Woo!
What do you know? Have we seen every other class represented here so far? I think so.
Yes.
Pretty much,
I
yeah.
want to say
Paladin's
yes.
been once,
Yep.
yeah. But yeah, the Warlock definitely feels like bottom of the rung at the moment in terms of class representation. It got a couple of very nice extra tools in the Saviors of Uldum expansion, a couple of nice self-damaging cards like Nephiset Thrasher to go with the Diseased Vulture, and the Evil Recruiter as well can be very, very strong. Tom's list as well has also got a, which we'll be able to take a look at in a minute, an interesting inclusion in Zephyrus the Great in his non-Reno version. He's also got a Plague of Flames. This is a pretty weird Zoo deck, which I'm excited to get a look at.
It is, and honestly, I was very am very disappointed with how the meta is right now in terms of Warlock specifically. There are some players who are doing well with it as we take a look at the list. There are some players who are doing well with it on ladder. Serpent Egg, by the way, made it to GM, just saying. But overall, the cards that were released got me very excited for the class, and I honestly feel like whenever we've had a good Warlock deck, the game or the meta has been quite good generally. Because Warlock's just a very interesting class, at least to cast. And it's not quite got there. I wish Plot Twist Warlock would just become a thing after the nerfs. It's such a fun deck. I love it so much. Yeah. But Zoo, you know what? I'll take it. But yeah, the Diseased Vulture, and also for me, just the fact that it does run Zephyrus, but you also do have Solarium, remember? You do have Life Tap as well, so you are going to be piling through your deck very, very quickly. So I don't actually hate it for just maybe a quick end of, instead of running Leroy, you can just run either maybe a Fireball, maybe a Pyroblast, from Zephyrus at the end.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, I haven't actually seen this build before. I've seen Zephyrus Zoo, but it's been Zephyrus. Like, it's been a singleton version where you run no duplicates in order to get that benefit, which has been, reasonably strong, because what you're basically playing the majority of the time is Zoo with Savage Roar thrown in there, which it turns out is pretty bloomin' powerful at closing out the game, or with Bloodlust potentially, depending on your mana. But I think overall, I like this kind of build a little bit more with more duplicates, and that's the thing about Zephyrus, is it's just a 2-mana 3/2. You can just play it on turn 2,
drop out,
and it's fine. It's not exactly what Zoo is trying to do, but I think it's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, and here we go. Last match of the day for us.
Oh, yeah.
But there's plenty more matches to come up, as Europe is going to follow up as always, and then America's later on after that. So depending on what time you woke up, or if you just don't like sleeping, there's plenty of Hearthstone coming at you today. This is just the Asia Pacific region so far. Last match of the day, DawN versus Tom. DawN on the top with the Hunter, and Tom on the bottom with the Zoo Warlock.
DawN's build of the Highlander Hunter, a little bit heavier than a lot of the other people we've been seeing, with, as you see there, Savannah Highmane thrown in there, Siamat as well, predicting some of the warriors, and I mean, I think that's a reasonable deck to hedge for, especially if you're not banning it out the way.
Yeah, I like it. Look at this already. Serpent Egg into Evil Genius.
That's such a strong combo, man.
Yep.
Job done. So good.
Also as well, just a note, in terms of Sinister Deal, one of the new cards, 1-mana Discover Lackey, and the new Lackey, which we've not really talked about because it's not really come up, is a 1-mana 1/1 plus 2 health and taunt to a minion. Of all the decks, I feel like Zoo is just the deck that minion was built for, because Zoo is just so historically known for value trades, just having that little bit more health than your opponents and so on, and it's looking pretty cool.
That Lackey's so annoying, because most of the time I would say it's one of the weaker ones to get when you compare it to obviously Ethereal Lackey or a well-timed Kobold Lackey, sorry. But when it's good, man, is it insane.
Yeah. For example, you've got to look at situations. Yes, it's in Hunter, so it doesn't count, but Flame Ward, right? oh, this big attack minion, whoop,
Yeah.
now it can survive Flame War, but more damage, more damage, more damage. So it very much works. I feel like it makes almost any minion like a Tark Reaper.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Such a cheap value too.
Tom here doing what Zoo does best in making a nice wide board early on, but also doing something that Zoo, I find, struggles with a little bit right now, which is having a high damage board as well. A lot of the time with all the lackey synergy thrown in there, it's just a bunch of 1 health guys. This is not that.
You were
oh
saying?
my lord. This is ridiculous. DawN's just gonna die.
It's 15 damage right now.
What?
And that's without including the Ethereal Lackey, the Sinister Deal. That's literally just Grim Rally on a minion.
Ethereal could get another Grim Rally. I guess it would
lethal.
have done it in another.
Okay, I'm confused by the tap.
Yeah, a little bit of order law
Yeah,
there.
but whatever. And look, like this is honestly one of the reasons that although Serpent Egg, the minion from the egg is not as beefy as past eggs we've had in the game,
Yeah.
but the whole game isn't as beefy early game. So suddenly a 3/4 coming out of a 2-drop, and it's resistant to AoE, of course, because it's an egg.
It's all
just feels
relative.
really strong.
Yeah. No, it's a very, very strong card. I agree. I wasn't sure if it would replace Scarab Egg in the Zoo decks, but it feels like it's kind of, for the most part, just joined it as another powerful 2-drop. Eggs are just
when
good
you
in Zoo.
consider as well, Plague of Flames is being used, which is one of my favorite cards of the set as well. I love all the Warlock cards, but
Yeah.
Plague of Flames, 1 mana, it kills all of your minions, and the amount of minions that die on your side die on your opponent's side, basically. So pretty good for killing mages. I was doing that day 1 of the expansion. It's like, people are just going to play Cyclone Mage, aren't they?
Yeah.
Enjoy your giant. I was playing like Reform Scheme, so I just summoned imps for 4 mana. I just killed a board of giants.
That deck
I was
was
like,
so sick.
take some of that.
Darkest Hour as well.
Yep.
When you go Reform Scheme, Darkest Hour on 9.
Oh, it's so good.
Sadly, didn't quite make the cut, so to everyone's surprise, I'm sure.
The one thing the deck does lack, which is where Zephyrus can come in handy a little bit, is burst damage.
That's fair.
There's no Soulfires.
And
There's no nothing. There's the lackeys that
none.
can deal 2, and then there's there's potential minions from Disease Vulture, like Wolf Rider, for example.
I guess.
But in general, there is no burst damage. So what you see is what you get versus Zoo at the moment. Oh,
Whoa.
Solarium.
Yeah, that Solarium is pretty nuts. Obviously, he can't find Soulfire out the deck, but just more
Still
to
just a
put on the
cool
board.
card.
Yeah,
So pick it because it's cool.
I agree. Solarium is a very cool
And
card.
look, there's still just potential 2 damage from Sinister Deal if he gets that Lackey. And the thing with Discover a Lackey is you can almost always get damage.
Yeah.
Because of the way the Discover mechanic works. It's crazy.
Well, there we go. That's the game.
GG.
That was definitely one of the quickest series we've had, and one of the reasons why you're going to be bringing Zoo to Grandmasters is because if you find yourself in the right kind of matchup where they don't have these wide board answers, Hunter generally does not have answers to wide boards, you just win.
Yeah, very, very good performance there from Tom on that Zoo. And you know, you got to say already, regardless of what we think about everything, we've just seen all the classes played in one day, or at least represented in one day. I'm not sure if every single one been played?
Yes, we've seen Druid, we've seen Paladin.
Yeah, I think every single one has been played, so kind of crazy. And that Zoo list, that's before the nerfs. You know, imagine it versus all these classes once nerfs kick in and they just get factually worse. Then Zoo, or at least Warlock in some way, I think might just go a little bit up on that ladder. But that was only game number 1 of our last series of the day. We've got at least one more game left for you guys. tom60229 versus DawN is coming up after this break.
Again, darker than they've ever been. As evil descends from the skies, the world cries out, how will we survive? Out of the hall of explorers, and up from the dusty tombs, they grab their whips and fedoras. These legends of the past know exactly what to do. There might be magic monsters, mummies in the markets, and ancient mysticism. There's surely scorching deserts, and there's your monster that knows
Hearthstone Esports is home to many competitive formats, each with their own unique variants and rules. Today, we're going to break down one of them, the Shield Phase Conquest format. And here's how it works. To start, both players bring 4 decks, each from a unique class. The match starts with a Shield Phase. This is where both players choose one of their own decks to protect, making it ineligible to be banned. Once the Protect phase has ended, both players will then ban one of their opponent's decks, removing it from the pool. Each player then selects which of their remaining decks they would like to play first, before beginning the first game of the series. When the first game of the series is over, the winner's deck is removed from their pool of eligible decks. Both players then select the next deck they would like to play. The loser of the first game can choose to replay with the deck they lost with, or they can choose one of their other 2 available decks. In best of 3 conquests, the first player to 2 wins is the victor. In best of 5 series, such as those in the semifinals or finals of major events, the first player that makes it to 3 wins takes the W. It's that easy. Shield Phase Conquest allows players to showcase their skill set across different classes, while still giving them the opportunity to play the deck they're most confident with. Now that you've got the download on Shield Phase Conquest, we wish you well on your deck building adventures.
We've got the next game coming right up between tom60229 and DawN, and I believe it is going to be Priest versus Hunter, and we can probably get into it fairly quickly as the players are just getting ready to go in now. But what do you make of this one? I feel like the Hunter it's one of its better matchups, I feel at least.
Yeah, I think it's really close, kind of interesting, because if the Priest gets itself the perfect hand, which we've seen a couple times actually already, where 1-drop into the extra arms, or if they go Tolvir into Nephiset Ritualist, there's not much the Hunter can do. But the majority of the time that doesn't happen, and then it gets a lot more interesting with the Priest. Secret interaction gets super interesting.
Yes.
The Priest can't, even if it gets the perfect hand, often it can't play it out in the way it wants to. And also, if the Hunter gets on board or ahead on board at any point, it starts to get very difficult for the Priest. I agree, I'd probably put the Hunter ever so slightly in the lead, but I think it can be a very close and very interesting matchup.
But I see some extra arms, so let's see what the rest of the mulligan looks like. Oh, no 1-drop.
Bit of a dud.
Yeah, Tom is running the, I'd say the standard list, a double Light Ward and double Northshire Cleric list. Everything else pretty standard, so does have 4 1-drops in the deck. I didn't get any.
All of a sudden, a bad hand becomes pretty good. With Psychopomp, being able to go Blade Master Psychopomp seems actually just kind of ludicrous.
Which 3-drop, Derek?
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised we... I guess 3-drop into 3-drop makes sense. I was looking at just going 3-drop into Psychopomp instead, but this makes sense.
And now, the good thing is, it was a trick question. There was no bad option, because if Psychopomp reses either of these 3-drops, you are feeling very good about life.
I'll agree with that.
DawN is running the, like as you said earlier, slightly beefier version of the Highlander Hunter with Siamat and the Savannah Highmane we can obviously see in hand. Sandbinder as well helps draw the Zephyrus, mainly as well as the Tiamat, but in general, fairly standard list. And I think DawN's card differences aren't going to be too impactful in this specific matchup.
I agree. Tom with no way to sacrifice off his Blade Master and play the Psychopomp on this turn, which is a little bit unfortunate, and therefore I can fully understand holding off on it for the moment because it wasn't quite so devastatingly powerful as it could have been quite yet. Tom is playing lightning fast though. I don't know if he's got somewhere to be because I have not seen a Priest player play this fast ever. This is not an easy deck to pilot.
It's definitely consistent with Tom though. He very rarely takes a long time. And also, I don't think I've ever seen him, at least during GM, that flustered, regardless of how the game is going.
Yeah.
He seems like that, like literally laid back in the fact that he has his turn, he lies back, just watches the game, hands off keyboard, hands off mouse. He'll look, and then he'll lean forward, make the turn, lean back, and look. And that's his whole motion for every single game I've seen him playing Grandmasters.
And as we learned from TJ Sanders, that is a great habit to get into when you're not sure of what your turn is. Hands off the keyboard.
Yeah, and look, honestly, it sounds very silly. We are memeing a tiny bit, especially because it's TJ. But there is no indecision when making his turn.
True.
He just does it in his head, sits forward, click, 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 done, sit back.
And even when he makes plays that I think most people would consider mistakes, he still seems cool about it. He still doesn't seem flustered at all.
Because he isn't indecisive about it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So I'm going to make the wrong play, and I'm going to be happy about it.
I'm going to make the wrong play, still win, because I can.
Oh, DawN here having to go for a little bit of an unfortunate series of plays here that does allow the Acolyte to really start popping off in terms of card draw.
What do you think about the Rat Trap versus freezing?
Well, over pressure play as well. He was looking at, I think.
Well, I think pressure plate's fine because it's kind of wasted on a reborn minion like Acolyte.
Yeah.
But freezing.
Well, by not playing the freezing, he still often gets the benefit of it, I think.
Okay. So it's just the
and by not playing the
bluff.
Yeah, well, actually, whatever secret he played there, like, honestly, I think there was argument for Explosive Trap being the secret to play there, because it's the one that doesn't matter, and you're already getting the benefit of all the other 3 good ones in that your opponent will play around them, and they're not going to play around Explosive Trap. I don't think I would have done that, but I would have heard out the argument for or Snake Trap, at least, something like that. DawN can now shut down any kind of ludicrous plays with the Acolyte if he wants to, with trade with Mo and the minion. Instead, he's going for the option of just leaving up the Acolyte and saying, if you want to draw a whole bunch of cards, go crazy. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I guess Light Warden is more likely to just lose you the game instantly, because it's saying if they have Circle of Healing, I can probably just give up.
Oh.
Wow.
Speaking of games and losing and stuff, wait, how much damage
Heal
is that?
1428 lethal.
And he knows it's not freezing. Is that just game?
That's game.
Huh? Wait.
Oh, he's waiting for a pressure plate.
Oh, okay.
Because yeah, he hasn't tested pressure plate yet.
He knows it's not pressure plate.
Now it's lethal.
GG!
This is what Priest does. What? Seemingly out of nowhere.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
And just like that, Tom finishes up his game and finishes up this series and finishes up day 1 of the Asia Pacific Grandmasters Season 2 by winning this game out of nowhere. DawN got crushed.
He did indeed. The Priest got on board ahead early on in what was not the most incredible draw, but I think a good sequence of plays there by tom60229, especially the couple of turns before he won. I think it was a very, very nice way of developing onto the board whilst activating pretty much none of the good secrets. from DawN there. Like the way he didn't play any spells to not activate Pressure Plate. 2 cards a turn. Play around Rat Trap. Didn't attack. Play around Freezing Trap. There was so many cards I should say, sorry, that he was playing around so effectively there, which allowed him to go for that chance to just get lethal on the following turn.
Yeah, it was really solid, and again, I think it's very important to note out of the pre-games we've seen, there are games that have gone very well, like that one.
Yeah.
And there are games that have been much harder and gone longer and been more difficult to manage resources, and I think that people might give Priest some rubbish for being an out of nowhere, but it's not going to last much longer, put it that way, because I do think the extra arms nerf, although might not destroy the deck, because Psychopomp is a very powerful card, as we've just seen, but it makes it a lot less consistent at getting those early powerful plays, mainly because of the 1-drops it can use. But it's very impressive anyway, and Tom beats DawN, so 2, I would say, of these stronger competitors clashing there, and Tom getting a win. Nice first step for him. Let's take a look at the standings at the end of day number 1. So in Division A, Chonsu at the top, along with Flurry, Samuel Zhao, and Tyler. And then we have Rivius, Surrender, Blood Trail, and Shaxi on the bottom. So very interesting look at Division A. We have mixed the players, of course, but seeing like Shaxi, Surrender, and Rivius at the bottom looks weird. It is only a 1-match sample size, though. Yeah,
it's a very interesting blend as to what I would call the difficult, the hard group there. As we see, also, tom60229 and DawN should be updated. Tom is up 1-0. DawN is down 0-1. Like, what would we even call the group of death here? Like, they're both pretty stacked. Alu Timu, tom60229, even Staz in particular in Group B, I would say, is very strong. But then, you know, Surrender has been doing very well. Shaxi, Rivius, like, these are big names.
Tyler as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. I mean, I'm just happy. It's just solid groups as well.
Me too.
It's going to be pretty cool. And it is only, 1 match or less played by each player, of course. So we've got plenty more matches coming up over the next couple of days. So let's take a look at what we've got coming up tomorrow for you guys. We've got Glory and Frosty going to play the first we'll see from them, as we've not seen them play today, along with Staz and Blitzchung. But then we have Alutimu and DawN, Chonsu, Blood Trail, and Shaxi and Surrender going to be playing out. Again, I'm honestly trying to remove some level of bias here, but Shaxi versus Surrender is going to be a pretty big match.
That is going to be
That's just true.
Yeah. On the other side, final match of the day, I'm looking at Staz versus Blitzchung. Going to be a pretty cool one. Staz, obviously, with his good run through with his second half of Season 1 Grandmasters, where he pulled things around drastically, and really one of the main players at Masters Tour Seoul over the weekend, who was heralding the onslaught of Highlander hunters that we've been seeing here, playing that very well and getting up to a strong top 8 finish.
And the highest finish in GM across the board, right?
Good point.
No other GM player finished higher than him, so he's currently in the #1 most recent performances. And yeah, he's already shown he's got a good grasp of the new meta. We have the meta this weekend that he's going to show for, and then everything's going to change next week. But we are done for the day. Hope you enjoyed watching day 1 of the Asia Pacific Grandmasters here with Derek and myself. But there is Europe coming right up, and then America's soon after that. So there's plenty more Hearthstone to watch as usual. But we will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.